So, you want to install the original DungeonRealms code. This video should take you through doing that. Uh, as you can see, I have some pages pulled up here. You'll need to download the JDK Java Development Kit from Oracle's website. I only tested with JDK 8, so that's just what I'm gonna download. It'll probably work with later versions, though. Uh, let's see. I have no idea what I'm doing here, so I'm just kind of going off the cuff, just trying to give instructions. So, uh, this'll go great. What am I looking for? Here we go. I'm looking for the 64-bit version. So I'm just gonna run that, and the installer will take you through it. I may or may not be cutting out stuff like install times. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. All right. So now that that's downloaded, we're gonna install it. So just it's pretty simple. Like the installer does everything. Just gonna shut that tab. Uh, it's gonna do that. And in the meantime, while that installs, I'm going to download IntelliJ IDEA, which is what you're going to use to compile or to turn the code into a plugin. Um, there's a version that you could pay for, but really the free version or the community version has everything that that you need. So we're just gonna download that now and see what's up with Java. So now IntelliJ installer has downloaded. So I'm just gonna run it to install it. So this is now the IntelliJ installer, and it looks like the. Oh no, this is. Oh, I ran it twice. Okay. Yeah. So this you can just click next through, and it should take you through everything. What do I care? This is not an actual setup I'm gonna use, so I don't need to worry about configuring that. You might want to configure that, like make it so if you double-click a Java file, it will open IntelliJ or something. But I'm not gonna bother with that just because I have a virtual machine set up just for this video. So now that IntelliJ is finished installing, you're going to want to enable this Run IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition box. Click Finish. You might as well shut the tab where you do that. So next what we're going to do is we're going to take the original DungeonRealms source code, and we're gonna set it up inside of IntelliJ, and it's gonna one moment. And then this will be what you use to write any of the code in inside of IntelliJ. Any code you're gonna write is gonna be inside of IntelliJ. IntelliJ is what you'll use to build the plugin into a .jar file. And so, if you've already used IntelliJ, you're not going to see this menu. You're going to have to use the menu bar at the top of the screen, like normally, right? The equivalent of this, and just do like File, New, and then do the same steps essentially. But in this case, we're going to check out from version control. In this case, it's going to be from we're using Git. Specifically, it's going to get it from GitHub. So when you're on this original DungeonRealms code page, you click this green clone or download button, and then it gives you a link. This link you're gonna want to copy, and then just paste right there, and then click clone. Let's see here. Is this? Oh, that's right. Forgot to download Git. Yeah, don't forget that. Just you can get it off git-scm.com/download. It's it's fairly small compared to everything else. Right, so now that the Git installer is open, you can just install that. Like, it's fairly straightforward. Those you might want to configure again, if you plan to use this, if you're installing this on a computer, which you may do more coding projects on, you might want to configure that differently. I just use the defaults because, again, I'm just running a virtual machine, which is temporary. So now you can go back to IntelliJ, and you can configure it to use there. Okay, now it automatically detects it. Did I change that? Here, I'll just cancel. So now it'll check it out properly. Or will it? Okay. Now it says it can't find it. In that case, you might need to select where you installed it by hand. It looks like it's right here. I'd assume that's what I'm supposed to select. Let's try it again. There we go. Now it's cloning it finally. So it's gonna create well, a clone of the source code that's available here on your local machine, and you'll be able to edit it and build it, and yeah. One thing that that you might need to or well, that you'll definitely need to do is, I'll show you in just a moment. You can really just click next through all of that for now. But what you need to do is, once IntelliJ loads, which we don't need to show tips, first things first, to show the project view, which is this area up here, you do Alt-1. Alt-1 at the same time will hide it, and it will show it. Like right there, you can see that. And it looks to me, yeah. So essentially, we should wait for it to index. Alright, so now that it's done indexing, what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to switch to a different branch. So down here in the bottom right corner, you click on where it says Git Master, and so the master is actually the last commit that Mindcade had, and they were in the middle of porting to 1.8, and stuff just was completely broken. So we still want to keep that stuff just for like historical archiving. Like, it's just cool to keep. But if you want to actually run a server, you're probably going to want to run the working version. So you're going to want to pick 1.7.5-working. And that means that it's going to be Minecraft version 1.7.5. So you're going to click on Checkout As, and then you can just click OK. And it'll check out the branch. And so now you should have the 1.7.5-working branch. Interestingly, this is a little bit different from how my setup was on my normal computer or normal Windows setup, but that could be for several reasons. Maybe different IntelliJ version. It's also probable I set it up a little differently. So what you're going to want to do is to build the jar file from the source code, which is going to be the source code is all like located in here. Like Izunomad yet is here's the code for that. And so now it's did it build it already? It might have. So up here it says the path to the project: C, users, Internet Explorer user, idea projects, original DR. And so you're gonna want to probably go to that path that it lists up there, and then there should be. No, I'm not seeing it. Let's see exactly where it is. Oh, interestingly, yeah, it looks like whatever it looks like I didn't set up right. So what you want to do is you'll want to open the menu that I just opened, and then move the main compile output right here. So if you do that, then it'll put stuff in the jar. Hopefully this is good. And this field right here sometimes isn't set. You probably want to set it. However, in this case, it is already set, so it should be good. And the project SDK and project language level should be 8. That'll cause issues if it's not. So now we're gonna try building it. So it's taking all the source code and it's gonna make a plugin jar for it. And so right now, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna like copy that jar to a server folder. What you can do in the future is you create an edit, or you can create a run configuration with this, which will let you actually like run the server and have the console show up inside of this window, and that's really nice because then you can use IntelliJ's debugger, which that's really helpful. It's a little wonky to use with Minecraft just because it has network timeouts, but it's still a nice tool to have. And so now it should be building the jar file from all the source code right now, which is all of the DungeonRealms code essentially. That's what it's making right now. It took 50 seconds. That's quite a while, but probably because I'm on a VM. And so it made. No, it didn't. Okay. That's interesting. Oop. So it should have made a jar file right here. It looks like it didn't. I'm probably missing something really obvious. That's okay. I'll just try it again. Okay. That is rather strange. It's possible. Okay, see, because it's. Okay, yeah. Generally, that just makes a jar file. I'm not sure why it's not. It's probably something really obvious. We go to project structure. We might find something that'll tell us what's up. Oh, you know, okay, I missed a step. No wonder. What I wanted to do was mark this as a resource. Wow, I am clumsy today. As a resource route. So this'll put the plugin YAML into the jar, which is required for it to recognize a jar as a plugin. I'm not sure exactly why it's not building a jar here, but we'll probably figure that out soon enough. Okay, here we go. There, that fixed it, marking it like that. So now here's the DungeonRealms plugin file. This is the DR code essentially. So while I'm here, this isn't actually what we're going to use just yet. But it's a crucial step to be able to continue later. Essentially, it's better we do it now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the DungeonRealms website. I'll have a link to this in the description, but it'll be https://www.dungeonrealms.net/originaldr, just like that. And it's going to redirect you to a Google Drive link, which is going to it's going to have a zip file, which is pretty large. Now that your file is downloaded, it's still scanning for me, but hopefully I can still move it around or something. I'm just gonna copy it to my desktop. So now we have a copy of it on our desktop. Then we're gonna extract it. And so this is gonna have all of the files that you really need to run your server, essentially. So now, once you have your folder extracted, you can now open it up, and you'll have a database and a Spigot server. So this is the actual Minecraft server here. You'll run this file to start it later. But for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up this database thing. We're gonna run this miniserver11.exe file. What this is going to do is it's extracting a portable MySQL server. So there's a database that your shard can connect to. So it saves player data and such. So you're gonna open this folder, and then you're gonna go to MySQL start, and for now, I guess. So, as you can see up here, it says that it's starting on disk Z. You can ignore that. On port 3311. You're going to want to, this number will be should be put into the code. So if you open up the Minecade folder in the code, you're going to want to go all the way to config, open this, and you're going to want to set, first off, you're going to want to set Hive IP to 127.0.0.1, which that's localhost, so that's always going to be your own computer. And you're going to want to set that SQL port to 3311, which is what it says right there. And you can just press enter to shut that window. Now you have a thing for a portable MySQL install. So you can the default you can log into it first. So the default credentials are is the username is root, all lowercase, and the password as root. So now you're going to log into that. And so you probably want to change that. Well, you definitely want to change that. So I'm just going to change it right here to example password. You do need these flush privileges commands whenever you want to change that, change password. So update mysql.user set password equals password, and then this is right here is where you type your password. In this case, it's just going to be example password because that's what I'm working with, and we're gonna make it so it's gonna set it for the root user, which is you. And then now you need flush privileges again. Now, this is something I missed the first time, but something you need to remember to do is when you change the root password, see this MySQL stop batch file. You have to edit. Oops. You have to edit that because right now, what's going to happen is it's going to try and shut it down with the password root. You need to change that to the password that you just set. So example password. Now, because I ran that before making that change, I actually need to stop the server manually. So it's probably, yeah, right here. Here's the SQL. So I'm just gonna kill that. You shouldn't have to do that as long as you make sure to update the password in there first. And so now now we want to go back here, and so we know that the username is root because we didn't change it, and that's the default. But the password that I set was example password. So you're going to want to set that to be whatever you did. We're not going to touch this FTP stuff. Like you could probably set it to anything really, but realms just were really kind of buggy when I was testing earlier, so yeah, I didn't really bother trying to get them to work because they're kind of a minor thing. If you want to make them work, like, hey, that's great, go for it. Kind of the issue though is that there are just so many things like this that are that have very specific uh, conditions or condition. What am I saying? There are a lot of things like this that are slightly broken. Like there are lots of errors in the console, even though this was the code that Mindcade like actually ran on their servers. Like there are so many bugs in it. I couldn't go through and fix it all. Like it'd take too much time from working on like actual DR coding. So we're just gonna ignore that. If you know how to set an FTP server up and do stuff like this, then yeah, go ahead and make this work. But that's not something that I'm gonna be covering here. So now uh, now we need to create the database. So okay, that's still there. Interesting. I think I already installed that. That's okay. Ignore that for now. Um, so what we're gonna do is, since we stopped the server earlier, we're gonna start it. So it's example password. Here we go. Now it worked. Looks like it just needed to be rebooted or something. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna create the DungeonRealms database. So we're just gonna do create database. Yeah, we can do lowercase DungeonRealms, and then we're gonna use DungeonRealms. So we're using that database, and then what we want to do is there is a file in here called layout.sql. You're gonna want to right-click that and click edit, just like Control A and then Control C to copy it, and then you're going to want to press right click to paste it. And so now it's just created the entire database essentially. So you can just quit out of there now. And that should be good for it to... am I forgetting anything? We've already updated the stuff in the config file. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to... I just did Control-Shift-N to bring up this bar. But what you want to do is you want to go to the main class, and it's actually right here. So that didn't matter. But you're going to want to go right here where it says devs, and you can just like add yourself at the end. You can also remove devs, but like, now you're going to want to build. Which is what we set up earlier, so that that worked. So now it's going to be making a newer version of this with the change where it thinks you're a dev, and where it's connecting to your database that you just set up, and yeah, it's doing stuff. Fun. So now you're just going to want to take that. You can do Control X or Control C or anything really. And so you're going to go to Spigot, and then you're going to go to Plugins, and then you're just going to paste it in here. And so there are already a bunch of plugins in there. And so now you should be able to just do start.bat, double-click that, and it will hopefully, fingers crossed, load DungeonRealms circa 2014. So now it's doing all its loading and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But I can't actually run Minecraft inside of this virtual machine. So hopefully I'll be able to connect to it just from my normal Windows setup. So I'm gonna try that right now. Okay, so yeah, that didn't work in the virtual machine. So I've set it up on my normal computer. And so now we should be able to just connect to it. Yeah, it's currently still loading, apparently. So it's, we should just be able to log into it. And now, I've of course already logged in on this setup, so I'm not at Tutorial Island. But when you spawn, you'll be at Tutorial Island, and you can do like /skip to skip it and stuff. So yeah, it's it's just like the old DungeonRealms, essentially. There are lots of bugs, and but overall things mostly work, I guess. Like, I haven't played around with it that much. This guy is this guy. You still see the skeleton legs turn red when hit, which is not something that happens in the newer versions. I kind of liked how it looked before, and wow, I'm not paying attention to combat at all. Energy regen also is insanely slow if you look at that. Like, it looks so laggy compared to how it currently works. But that's it to really set it up. Like, stuff works mostly. Like Realms, they have issues. There's still lots of like errors that you'll see in the console every now and then. But I think that those were like actually present in the time of Moncade. So like if we want to place a shot, that's the sneak left click. That's right. I could just say test shop. Why not? So now we have the test shop open. We can like throw. There we go. And yeah, that seems to work. Oh, I guess that isn't a command in this version. Yeah, the commands are all different. I don't, close a shop. Oh, I punch it. Okay. It's been a while. I'm not very, I don't remember a whole lot of these controls. But, there is one thing that is, well, there are a lot of things that are problematic, but, one thing though is if you log out and then like you op yourself, then you come back in. Okay. This was intentional, it looks like, but you can't actually hit things when you're opt, nor can you be hit. This is probably, or this probably made sense at the time, because like, well, I don't know, to be completely honest, but it probably made sense. Like, otherwise, why would they have it? But it's definitely because that you're op. Like, I looked into it. So maybe the first thing that you might want to change with this code is like a challenge is make it so just because you're op, you aren't in God mode. Maybe have a separate way to enter and exit God mode. Because I know that if you're trying to make a server, like, you probably want to be op, so you have access to cool stuff like add weapon new 5. Oh no, it's tier 5. But you still want to be able to hit things. Yeah. So, yeah, that's really it. Like, oh, I forgot to say how you connect to this server. The IP that you connect to is 127.0.0.1, or you can so like that, or localhost. Both of those will work in the direct connect menu, or like adding a server. And so it should let you just connect to it like this, given that you have it online. And yeah, that's really it. Like, hold up, I'm curious if I de-op myself, if I still show up as dev. No, I don't. Okay. But I still won't be able to hit things because I have to relog for whatever reason. Oh, well, that. See, yeah, I still can't hit things until I see localhost, until I relog. Oh, there's that. Allow and join alias. I don't actually know a whole lot of the commands on here. You probably need to check the source code to see all that. But yeah, like now I can punch things. What is up with this? Maybe it's just I don't know if the rate is actually that low. But anyways, that's basically all. it takes a while, but it's fairly simple to set up in terms of steps. Like it's not like you have to write code or anything. Although that's really the target audience for this entire thing. Have fun. Show me what you make. I guess. Like I'm always available in Discord. Have fun. I'd really recommend cleaning up this code too while you use it. Like it is literally the messiest thing I have ever seen. That's not an understatement. It's terrible. This code is terrible. But that just means that there's a lot of room for improvement. And hey, if you do a good job of cleaning it up, like submit a dev application and show us. Like we'd be interested in stuff like that. Peace out.